I've been told that how I tie on reeds is quite unusual, so I thought I would share my method with you. What I'm going to do is I've had this piece of cane soaking in water for the last hour. As you can see, it's already doubled over, and I've put some wire at the bottom. This wire is, I've measured from here to here, and it is the point where the top of the staple will come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up this mandrel, and I'm going to put it in the bottom of that piece of cane in order to make room for the staple. Because at the moment, you'll see the bit of cane at the bottom the opening isn't great. Can you see that? Yeah, see, like that. And by adding the heated mandrel, it will expand the cane ever so slightly so that the staple can fit on better. So what I'm going to do is now is just tighten this ever so slightly. So it's taking the shape of the staple is about to be fitted to it. And I want to make sure that both sides are closing. Yeah, seems to be the case. So I take it out. As you can see, it has improved a little bit. It's slightly more open. Open enough for a staple to put on it. And as you can see, my staple has been recycled quite a lot, but these are my favorite staples, so I use them all the time. Okay, here we go. So I push it up as far as the top of the wire, and I look through the bottom to make sure that it's straight. Yep, it's straight. And then what I do is I measure it to make sure that it's the right length. It's still a bit too long for me, so I'm going to push it on a little bit more. The measurements aren't really of any interest for you because everybody's measurements are different, and this measurement just works for me. So I'll just adjust it ever so slightly. It's too short. Still a little bit too short. You just can wiggle it gently every time to get the exact measurement. Yeah, that's it. So then what I do is I get my mandrel, put it into the staple, and then tighten the wire onto the staple so it's really secure. And at the same time making sure that both sides are equally closing, because we don't want any leakages later. So, like that. And now comes the bit that is different. Usually oboists, you can tell an oboist's house by bits of thread hanging off table legs and chair legs and doorknobs and everything. In my house, you will not see threads hanging off bits of furniture, because this method I learned from Klaus Becker many years ago. I find to be really effective, and it's much easier. I think it's faster and much easier and less messy, of course. So what I do is I get the cane, or the almost finished reed, and I put the thread into the bottom of the staple, and then I get my mandrel and I put the mandrel into the staple, really tight, really secure. So here's my spool of thread. Just going to keep it short so that you can see it in the film, and I make sure it's straight. Looks straight enough. So then what I do is I tilt it like this, and then I start to twist. And what I do is I don't twist with my right hand, I twist the mandrel with my left hand, with my fingers like that. Just roll it basically. And then at the same time my right hand is really tight, or the thread is holding the thread really tightly. So I just go every now and then, I turn it around to make sure that it's straight, because sometimes you can push it off center by tightening too much or too little even. So I keep looking. Yeah, it still looks okay. I'm going to keep twisting until I get to the top of the staple, and I know where the top of the staple is because of the wire. So once I get close to the wire, I stop, and I'm holding it really tight, and I wrap this bit around my index finger to keep it secure, because I need to get my ruler. I need to measure if I really am at the top of the staple, or if I've gone too far. No, I can go a little bit more. Oops. It's kind of tricky doing this and filming at the same time. So let's see how it is now. Again, twist it around my index finger. See It looks more clumsy because it's not, because the camera's in the way. But right, I'm at the top of the staple now, so then it's time to go back. So twist it again, and then I roll again with my left hand. See, and I'm now going to cover any visible cane. I'm going to cover it with thread and do it as neatly as I possibly can. And I usually stop once I don't see cane anymore. Some people go all the way down to the cork, but that's just pure personal taste. So what I do now is time to tighten it. So unravel that a bit, and then I make a loop here and slip it over the top, and another loop to make it very tight. And then I take the mandrel out, take out the thread that was at the very beginning, and I do 2 more knots just to be sure that it's not going to unravel. And my reeds never unravel, so this really does work. Normally I'd do it much faster, but just for the purpose of this, I'm doing it a bit slower. And then chop the thread. And you could leave it like that if you wanted, but I burn the ends, and that way you're certain it's not going to unravel. And then to be extra sure about that it's not leaking, I also put this on, some clear nail varnish, nothing special, but that finishes the job. And there you have it, and no thread to be seen on any table legs or any furniture in the house.